between every shining star there is a long, unhurried silence, not an emptiness, but a gentle pause where light slows down and matter drifts without urgency. It is the space that holds the stars apart and softly together. Welcome to AstraFlow. Here, science drifts like starlight, and curiosity becomes calm. Tonight, let your thoughts slow down, your breathing find its rhythm, and your mind float through wonder. Before we begin, I'd love to know where you're listening from. Are you lying in bed beneath quiet city lights, or resting somewhere darker, where the sky still shows its depth? Tell me in the comments. It's always peaceful to imagine the AstraFlow community scattered across the world, drifting together beneath the same universe. And if this calm journey brings you peace, you can gently support AstraFlow by liking this video or subscribing. It helps this small corner of the cosmos keep glowing. Now, let's begin tonight's voyage into the quiet story of drifting through the interstellar medium, the space between stars. As you breathe slowly, imagine space not as a dramatic explosion of light, but as a soft expanse. Between stars that burn for millions of years, there is room to rest. This is where tonight's journey unfolds, in the places that rarely demand attention, yet quietly shape everything that exists. The interstellar medium is not loud, it does not shine on its own, it does not rush. It is made of thin gas, sparse dust, and faint energy, spread so delicately that a perfect vacuum on Earth would feel crowded by comparison. And yet, this gentle medium is the cradle of stars, planets, and eventually life. As you settle deeper into rest, let this idea sink in, that the universe is not only built from brilliance but from calm intervals, from long pauses between events, from quiet regions where time stretches and nothing seems to happen, until, slowly, something does. Your breath mirrors this rhythm now. Inhale, a star. Exhale, the space between. Neither exists without the other. Tonight, we drift with the unseen. We explore the soft fabric that holds galaxies together. And as your thoughts become lighter, you may find that the most peaceful places in the universe are not the brightest ones, but the ones that simply allow things to float. Stay here. There is no rush. The space between stars has been waiting for billions of years. What does it mean for space to be empty? It's a question that sounds simple, yet unfolds slowly, like a thought just before sleep. When we look up at the night sky, the darkness between stars feels like nothing at all, a backdrop, a blank canvas. But in the universe, emptiness is rarely empty. As your breathing settles, imagine removing every star from the sky. Every glowing point fades away. What remains is not absence, but presence. Subtle, diffuse, almost weightless. This is the interstellar medium, filling the galaxy the way air fills a quiet room. Even in the darkest regions of space, atoms drift. Single hydrogen atoms float for years before meeting another. Dust grains, smaller than smoke, wander through vast distances, barely touching anything at all. It is a place where collisions are rare and patience is required for everything. In 1 cubic centimetre of interstellar space, you might find just a few atoms. On Earth, that same volume would contain trillions upon trillions, and yet, over distances measured in light years, even this thin presence becomes powerful. As you lie here, perhaps wrapped in a blanket, notice the air around you. You cannot see it, yet you trust it completely. You breathe without thinking. The interstellar medium is like that. The galaxy's breath, so diffuse it disappears from attention. This leads us to a quieter truth, that nothing is often just something we haven't learned how to notice yet. The universe is generous with space. It allows room for motion without friction, room for light to travel without sound, room for matter to rest before it gathers again. And maybe that is comforting. to know that even the vast darkness is gently filled. That between moments of brightness in your own life, there is not a void, but a soft medium where things rearrange themselves. As thoughts drift by now, you do not need to catch them. Let them float like atoms in space. Some will meet and combine, others will pass quietly and disappear. Tonight's journey is not about chasing answers, it is about resting in the question. What fills the emptiness, and what fills the quiet spaces inside you? For now, simply notice that you are held by air, by gravity, by the unseen structures that make rest possible. The universe is never truly empty, and neither is this moment. If we could draw a map of the galaxy's quiet places, it would not look like lines and borders, it would look like mist. The interstellar medium stretches across the Milky Way like a thin glowing fog, not uniform, not still, but gently varied, forming regions of slightly more density and vast regions of almost nothing at all. Astronomers describe it with careful language: ionized gas, neutral hydrogen, molecular clouds. But beneath those words lies something softer, a continuous flow of matter spread so thin that motion becomes meditative. Hydrogen is the main presence here, the simplest atom in the universe, one proton, one electron, floating alone, sometimes for millions of years, before encountering another. Helium drifts alongside it, and traces of heavier elements, carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, forged in stars long gone, now rest in between the next generation of a light. As you breathe, imagine this medium moving around the galaxy the way water moves through a slow tide, pulled by gravity, shaped by explosions that happened long before Earth existed. Smoothed by time, some regions are warmer, energized by nearby stars. Others are cold and dark, barely glowing at all. These cold places are where molecules can form, simple combinations at first, then more complex ones. Even in near-freezing darkness, chemistry continues patiently. This map of the in-between is not meant to be navigated quickly. It is measured in patience, in waiting, in long pauses between events, and perhaps that is why it feels so calming to think about, because nothing here demands urgency, nothing flashes for attention. Everything unfolds at the pace of gravity and time. As your thoughts slow, let this map replace the usual mental noise. No sharp edges, no deadlines, only gentle gradients of presence. You're allowed to drift here, to be diffuse, to take up space without pressure. The interstellar medium teaches us that being spread thin is not the same as being lost. That quiet presence can still hold immense potential. Tonight, we rest inside this soft structure, inside the galaxy's most patient regions, where nothing is wasted and everything is simply waiting. Out in the deep stretches between stars, matter exists in its simplest, most patient form. Single atoms drift through darkness so complete that even the idea of direction begins to soften. An atom of hydrogen may travel for thousands of years without touching another particle, moving gently, guided only by faint gravitational whispers and residual motion left over from ancient events. In these regions, darkness is not a void, but a quiet field of motion. Atoms are never truly still. Even near absolute zero, they carry a subtle energy, a reminder that the universe does not stop, it only slows. This slow motion is not chaotic. It is calm, almost deliberate, like dust floating in a sunbeam when a room is otherwise silent. Hydrogen dominates this space because it is simple and enduring. Formed shortly after the beginning of the universe, it has had billions of years to wander. One proton and one electron, bound together, drifting through time. Helium joins it, heavier, but still light enough to move freely. Together they form the background presence of the galaxy, a soft atmospheric layer stretched across light years. As you rest now, Imagine your own thoughts becoming lighter, simpler. Not everything needs to combine or resolve. Some thoughts are allowed to remain separate, floating peacefully without conclusion. The interstellar medium teaches this gently. That separation does not mean isolation. Even far apart atoms belong to the same structure, the same galaxy, the same slow story. Occasionally atoms do meet. When they do, nothing dramatic happens. There is no flash, no sound. Just a subtle exchange of energy, a slight change in trajectory. Over immense time, these rare encounters accumulate, shaping regions of slightly higher density. This is how structure begins in the quietest way possible. The darkness here is not frightening, it is protective. Without constant collisions, matter can remain undisturbed for eons. It can wait. And waiting, in the universe, is a powerful state. As your breathing deepens, allow this idea to settle. That rest itself is a form of motion, that drifting is not falling behind but participating in a slower rhythm. Tonight, you do not need to shine. You do not need to react. You are allowed to be like these atoms, present without pressure, moving without urgency, held gently within something vast and patient. Some of the coldest regions in the universe exist quietly between stars, not cold in the way winter feels on skin, but cold beyond sensation, where temperature loses its familiar meaning. Here, the interstellar medium cools to just a few degrees above absolute zero, a place where heat has almost entirely faded away. In this extreme cold, motion slows, but it never disappears. Atoms move more gently, vibrations soften, and energy spreads thin. There is no wind, no surface, no sound. Only a deep stillness, layered with subtle activity too slow for human intuition. It may seem surprising, but these cold regions are among the most important places in the galaxy. Because when energy is low, matter can begin to settle. Molecules can form. Hydrogen atoms pair up. Carbon finds oxygen. Simple compounds emerge, not quickly, but inevitably. Cold, in this sense, is creative. As you lie still now, wrapped in warmth, consider the contrast. Your body rests best when it is warm and safe. The universe, however, builds new things in cold silence. Both are valid forms of rest. Both are necessary. There is no single way to be at peace. These cold clouds drift invisibly, only revealed when they block distant starlight. Astronomers see them as dark shapes against glowing backgrounds, like shadows moving slowly across a luminous wall. Inside them, time stretches. A process that takes seconds in a laboratory may take thousands of years here. This teaches a gentle lesson that slowness is not inefficiency. It is simply a different scale of care. The universe is not in a hurry, and tonight neither are you. Each breath you take is warm, steady, unremarkable, and perfect. Let the idea of cosmic cold cool your thoughts, not to freeze them, but to quiet unnecessary movement. Let mental noise dissipate the way heat fades into space. What remains is clarity, stillness, and a soft sense of belonging within something vast. In the coldest places between stars, creation waits patiently, and in this quiet moment, so can you. Alongside gas, the interstellar medium carries something even more delicate: dust. Tiny grains of solid matter, smaller than smoke, formed from elements forged inside ancient stars. These particles drift so lightly that radiation itself can push them, nudging them gently across the galaxy. Cosmic dust is not dirt in the ordinary sense. It is refined, sparse, and meaningful. Each grain may contain carbon, silicon, oxygen, or iron, bound together in microscopic structures. Though small, these grains have a quiet influence. They absorb starlight, scatter colour, and provide surfaces where molecules can form. When you see a nebula glowing softly in images of space, much of its beauty comes from dust. Dust shapes like the way mist shapes a sunrise, diffusing brightness into colour. Without dust, the universe would look harsher, sharper, less forgiving to the eye. Dust also carries memory. Each grain was once part of something larger, a star that lived and died long before our sun formed. Now, it drifts through space, contributing silently to future worlds. In this way, dust is the galaxy remembering itself. As you breathe in and out, imagine dust moving with similar gentleness, not rushing, not resisting, simply responding to subtle forces. Let your thoughts behave the same way. No need to cling, no need to push away, just drift. On these dust grains, molecules gather, water can form, organic compounds can emerge. The raw ingredients of life begin their long journey here, floating quietly, unnoticed. Life does not start with urgency. It begins with patience and proximity. This is a comforting thought to carry into sleep, that even the smallest things matter, that what seems insignificant may one day become essential. The drifting does not mean being lost. Tonight, rest, like cosmic dust, light enough to be moved by gentle forces, old enough to carry stories, calm enough to wait for what comes next. Light does not move through space untouched. As it travels between stars, it passes through the interstellar medium, and even the thinnest presence leaves a trace. Photons glide through clouds of gas and dust, interacting softly, losing a little energy here, changing direction slightly there. Over vast distances, these tiny interactions accumulate, and starlight arrives changed, older in colour, quieter in tone. This is why distant stars appear redder than they truly are. Blue light scatters more easily, brushing against dust grains and drifting away, while red light continues forward, patient and enduring. Astronomers call this interstellar reddening, but beneath the term is a gentle image, light aging as it travels, like a long breath slowly exhaled across the galaxy. Imagine light leaving a star millions of years ago. It begins bright and sharp, full of energy. Along the way, it passes through regions of thin gas, where electrons briefly absorb and re-emit it. It brushes against dust, warming grains by fractions of a degree. It bends slightly around magnetic fields. By the time it reaches a telescope or your eyes, it carries the quiet memory of everywhere it has been. As you rest now, notice how your own thoughts change as they move. A thought begins clearly, then softens, then blends into something less defined. The interstellar medium teaches us that this softening is not loss, it is transformation. Nothing remains untouched by a long journey, and nothing needs to. Light does not rush. It moves at its constant speed, yes, but the universe is vast and even light must wait. Years pass, centuries. Entire civilizations rise and fade while photons drift through space, guided gently by the medium they pass through. This slowness is not frustrating. It is simply scale. There is comfort in knowing that even the fastest thing in the universe experiences patience, that even light must interact, must listen, must respond to what surrounds it. Tonight, you are allowed to do the same, to let the world soften you slightly, to arrive at sleep changed in small, gentle ways. The interstellar medium is not an obstacle to light. It is a companion, a subtle presence that shapes every journey without ever demanding attention. In the same way, rest does not stop your thoughts. It guides them, dims their sharp edges, and lets them fade naturally. As your breathing slows, imagine starlight passing through you. Not bright or blinding, but warm and diffuse. Let it carry away tension. Let it scatter what no longer needs to stay sharp. You are not disappearing. You are being gently filtered. Between stars, light learns how to become calm. And here, in this quiet moment, so do you. Most of the interstellar medium cannot be seen at all. It drifts quietly, transparent and unannounced, filling the galaxy without drawing attention to itself. But in certain places, conditions align just enough for the invisible to reveal its outline. There, space becomes visible. There, nebulae appear. Nebulae are regions where gas and dust grow slightly denser, or where nearby stars provide enough energy to make the medium glow. Starlight excites atoms, causing them to emit soft colours. Hydrogen glows red, oxygen shimmers in blue and green, dust reflects light like a faint cosmic fog. These colours are not painted on the universe. They are its natural response to light and energy. When you look at images of nebulae, you're not seeing objects separate from space. You're seeing space itself, illuminated. The interstellar medium briefly steps into view, like breath visible on a cold night. For a moment you can see where matter gathers, where gravity is slowly at work, where future stars may someday form. Nebulae are often called stellar nurseries, but they are not busy places. There is no rush, no flurry of activity. Star formation unfolds over millions of years. Clouds collapse slowly. Regions cool and thicken. Everything proceeds at a pace so gentle it feels almost still. As you rest, imagine your own thoughts becoming visible in this way, not demanding action, just softly illuminated. You do not need to follow them or shape them. Simply noticing is enough. The universe does not hurry its creations, and neither should you. Some nebulae glow because they are energized. Others remain dark, seen only as shadows against distant stars. Both are part of the same medium. Both are necessary. Light and darkness are not opposites here, but companions, revealing different aspects of the same structure. Nebulae remind us that beauty often comes from contrast, from thin matter made visible by light, from silence gently outlined by colour. They show us that the universe does not separate emptiness from substance. It allows one to reveal the other. Tonight, let yourself be like a nebula, mostly quiet, mostly unseen, and yet, when light touches you, softly present. You do not need to glow brightly. A faint illumination is enough. Space itself agrees. Between the stars, change still happens. It just happens slowly, without drama, like weather unfolding on a timescale too long to notice. The interstellar medium carries currents, pressures, and gentle disturbances that move through the galaxy like a quiet climate system. There are no storms as we know them, no thunder or rain, yet there is motion, balance, and response. Supernova explosions send waves of energy outward, rippling through space long after the light has faded. These shock waves compress gas in some regions and thin it in others. Over millions of years, they reshape clouds, carving filaments and bubbles into the medium. To us, this looks like sudden violence. To the galaxy, it is just weather passing through. There are also gentler flows. Stellar winds from young stars push softly against nearby gas, creating cavities of lower density. Radiation warms some regions, causing them to expand, while colder areas contract. All of this movement is subtle, continuous, and patient, governed by simple physical laws that never rush. As you listen, notice the quiet rhythms in your own body, the slow rise and fall of your chest, the steady movement of blood. These are your internal weather patterns, usually unnoticed, always present. The galaxy has its own version, spread across light years, breathing in a way too slow for immediate perception. The interstellar medium responds to change the way water responds to a passing breeze. It shifts, it adapts, it never resists with force. Over time, this gentle responsiveness creates structure. Spiral arms gain definition, clouds gather and disperse. Nothing stays fixed, yet nothing moves abruptly. This slow galactic weather teaches a calming lesson. That change does not need urgency to be real. That transformation can occur without tension. You do not need to feel dramatic for something meaningful to be happening within you. Tonight, allow your internal weather to settle. There is no need to control it. Thoughts can drift like high clouds, thin and fleeting. Emotions can move like distant currents, felt but not overwhelming. Everything finds its place when given time. The galaxy does not demand stillness, nor does it fear movement. It allows both. In the slow weather of space, there is room for rest, for motion, and for becoming something new without hurry. And here, in this moment, you are safely within that same gentle system. Sometimes, the quiet of the interstellar medium is gently interrupted. A massive star reaches the end of its long life and releases its energy in a supernova, sending light and matter outward in all directions. For a brief moment, the galaxy flares, and then, slowly, the echo begins. The explosion itself is sudden, but its influence is patient. Expanding clouds of gas move outward for tens of thousands of years, carrying new elements into the surrounding medium. Iron, calcium, oxygen, carbon, materials forged deep inside the star are released, drifting into space like a whisper that lasts longer than the shout. These enriched particles join the interstellar medium, changing its chemistry in subtle but lasting ways. Regions touched by supernova remnants carry more complexity, more possibility. Future stars form from this material. Planets take shape. Even life, much later, benefits from these ancient endings. As you rest now, consider how even intense moments eventually soften. A loud experience becomes a memory. A strong emotion fades into something quieter. The universe does this too, absorbs its own extremes and turns them into gentle background influence. Supernova remnants expand until they lose their edges. They blend back into the interstellar medium, indistinguishable from the gas and dust around them. Nothing is wasted. Everything is redistributed. The galaxy remembers, not in events, but in composition. There is comfort in this kind of continuity, that endings are not erasures, but transformations. That energy does not vanish, it spreads. Tonight you do not need to resolve anything forcefully. Whatever feels intense can be allowed to disperse naturally. The interstellar medium holds these whispers from the past without judgment. It carries them forward, diluted, softened, ready to contribute to something new. You are allowed the same kindness, to let experiences settle, to let meaning emerge later. As your breathing deepens, imagine any lingering tension expanding outward, becoming less dense, less defined. Let it drift into the background of your awareness, where it can no longer disturb rest. Even the most powerful stars eventually become quiet contributors to the space between, and so can you. In the interstellar medium, nothing announces the beginning of creation. There is no clear starting point, no signal that says something important is about to happen. Structure emerges quietly, from small differences that grow over immense time. A region becomes slightly denser than its surroundings, a little cooler, a little calmer, and gravity begins to notice. Gravity does not rush. It does not pull sharply or suddenly in these thin regions of space. Its influence is subtle, almost polite. Particles drift closer together, not because they are forced, but because there is nowhere else quite as balanced to be. Over thousands, then millions of years, these tiny preferences accumulate. Gas that was once evenly spread begins to gather. Dust follows. The interstellar medium thickens in certain places, not dramatically, but enough to change how light moves through it. These are the earliest hints of structure, the universe sketching lightly, barely pressing the pencil to the page. As you lie here now, notice how your body settles into stillness without instruction. Muscles soften. Breathing deepens. Rest does not need to be commanded. It happens when conditions are right. The galaxy works the same way. Stars are not built through urgency, but through allowing. In these forming regions, silence deepens. Movement slows further. Energy dissipates. This quiet is essential. Without it, matter would never gather long enough to begin something new. Creation in the universe begins with calm. There is a gentle reassurance in this, that nothing meaningful requires tension, that becoming something more does not require force. Tonight, you're not being shaped by pressure, but by permission. Permission to slow, permission to collect yourself gently. From silence to structure, from diffusion to form, the interstellar medium shows us how patience becomes architecture, how rest becomes the foundation of light. And as your thoughts grow fewer and softer, you're following the same ancient pattern, drifting toward rest, without effort, without resistance. As matter gathers, the interstellar medium changes its character. Regions that were once thin and transparent become thicker, darker, and colder. These are molecular clouds, vast accumulations of gas and dust that drift through the galaxy like sleeping giants. They're immense in size, stretching across dozens or even hundreds of light years, yet they remain quiet, almost invisible. Inside these clouds, temperatures drop further. Atoms move slowly enough to bind together, forming molecules. Hydrogen pairs with hydrogen, carbon joins oxygen. More complex arrangements begin to appear, all without sound or urgency. The cloud does not awaken, it simply deepens into stillness. From the outside, molecular clouds look like absence. They block light rather than emit it, appearing as dark shapes against a brighter background. But inside, there is richness. Density increases, chemistry unfolds, possibility accumulates. These clouds are not empty, they are full of waiting. As you rest now, imagine your own mind as a molecular cloud. Thoughts slow and cluster gently. They no longer rush past one another. They settle, overlap, and sometimes combine into something new. You do not need to analyze them, let them sleep. Within molecular clouds, gravity continues its quiet work. In some regions, matter gathers just a little more than elsewhere. The cloud is not uniform. Small variations grow slowly over time. These denser pockets may one day collapse further, forming stars, but for now, nothing is required of them. The universe allows these clouds to remain dormant for millions of years. There is no deadline, no expectation. They are allowed to exist as they are. This permission is part of their strength. Tonight, give yourself the same allowance. You do not need to become anything before sleep arrives. You do not need to solve or improve or decide. Rest is enough. Waiting is enough. Molecular clouds remind us that potential does not demand action. It can remain quiet, unexpressed, gathering gently in the dark. And as your awareness drifts, you may feel yourself becoming like these sleeping giants, held in calm, filled with possibility, free from urgency. Gravity is often imagined as a force that acts suddenly, pulling objects together with insistence. But in the interstellar medium, gravity behaves differently. It works with extraordinary patience. In regions of thin gas and drifting dust, its influence is so gentle that it feels almost like an invitation rather than a command. Within molecular clouds, gravity begins to favour certain places. Where matter is slightly denser, its pull is just a bit stronger. Particles drifting nearby find themselves lingering longer, circling softly, spending more time together than apart. Over immense stretches of time, this quiet preference leads to gathering. Nothing collapses quickly here. There is no rush toward form. Gravity waits for the cloud to cool, for motion to slow, for disturbances to fade. Only when conditions are calm enough does it begin to shape something more defined. Creation in the universe happens when movement becomes gentle enough to listen. As you rest, notice how gravity holds you without effort. Your body presses softly into the bed. There is no struggle in this connection. You're supported naturally without instruction. The same quiet pull that gather stars is also holding you in place right now. This patient gravity offers a lesson in trust, that not all progress needs direction, that sometimes allowing yourself to settle is enough. You do not need to move toward rest. Rest will come to you when you stop resisting it. In the interstellar medium, gravity does not overpower other forces. It works alongside them, balancing pressure, temperature, and motion. It is not dominant, but persistent. Its strength lies in duration, not intensity. Let this idea sink in as your breathing deepens, that you're not required to exert effort to arrive at sleep. You're simply being gathered by calm conditions. Thoughts slow, muscles release, awareness softens. Gravity's patient pull has been shaping the universe for billions of years. Tonight, it asks nothing of you. It only invites you to settle, to be held, to drift gently into rest, just as matter does between the stars. In the interstellar medium, time stretches far beyond anything the human mind is used to holding. Processes unfold not in seconds or hours, but in millions of years. A cloud gathers slowly, a region cools gradually. Gravity works with such patience that change feels almost imaginary, yet it is always happening. If you were to watch a molecular cloud for a single lifetime, you would see almost nothing change at all, and yet, over countless generations, that same cloud may give birth to stars, planets, and entire systems of light. Time in space is not measured by events, but by accumulation. As you breathe now, each inhale and exhale becomes its own small unit of time, a gentle rhythm, a personal scale. The universe holds both at once, the brief moment of breath and the vast ages of transformation. Neither is more important than the other. They simply exist together. This contrast can be comforting. You do not need to hurry because the universe never does. There is room for slowness at every level of existence. What matters is not speed, but continuity. The steady unfolding of simple actions over time. In the interstellar medium, nothing ages abruptly. Change is so gradual that it remains invisible until long after it has happened. This teaches us that progress does not need to be felt to be real. Tonight, even if sleep seems distant, rest is already beginning. As thoughts grow quieter, imagine time loosening its grip. There is no schedule here, no expectation, just a long open stretch in which things are allowed to happen when they are ready. The galaxy has been waiting for billions of years. It is not impatient with you. Let each breath feel like a million years compressed into a moment. Slow, complete, enough. You're not behind. You're exactly where you need to be in this unfolding. Between stars, time flows without pressure. And here, in this quiet space, you're invited to step into that same rhythm where nothing needs to happen quickly and rest arrives gently, in its own time. When we picture the Milky Way, we often imagine a graceful spiral of stars, glowing arms stretching across darkness. But this visible light is only part of the story. Beneath and between those stars lies the galaxy's hidden body, the interstellar medium, filling the spiral arms like soft tissue between bones. This medium gives the galaxy its shape. Gas gathers along spiral arms, guided by gravity and rotation, thickening where stars are more likely to form. Dust outlines these structures, tracing curves that light alone could never reveal. Without the interstellar medium, the Milky Way would be a scattered collection of stars, lacking coherence, lacking flow. As you rest now, imagine the galaxy as a living form, not in a biological sense, but in a structural one, supported by connections rather than isolated points, held together by what lies between, not only by what shines. This is true in many systems, including your own life. Your body, too, is more than its visible parts. Breath, circulation, and quiet chemical balance hold everything together. These processes rarely ask for attention, yet without them, nothing else could exist. The interstellar medium plays the same role on a galactic scale. From within this hidden body, stars are born and return. Matter cycles through space, becoming part of something luminous, then dispersing again. The galaxy breathes through this medium, inhaling material into stars, exhaling it back into space. This rhythm does not rush. It is smooth, continuous, and forgiving. As your breathing aligns with it, you may feel a sense of belonging, not as something separate from the universe, but as part of its structure. Tonight, rest within the Milky Way's hidden body. Let yourself be supported by the unseen processes that do not require effort or attention. Just as the galaxy is held together by its quiet spaces, you're held now by stillness, gently connected to everything else. In the interstellar medium, waves travel without sound. There is no air to carry vibration to an ear, no surface to echo against. And yet motion moves outward all the same. Pressure changes ripple through gas and dust. Energy flows through magnetic fields, and space responds quietly, without noise. These waves are born from events long past. A supernova sends a pulse outward. A cluster of stars emits steady radiation. Over time, these influences spread, not as sharp fronts, but as gentle gradients, smoothing themselves as they go. The interstellar medium absorbs and redistributes energy patiently, never amplifying, always softening. Imagine a stone dropped into a lake so vast that the ripples take centuries to cross it. By the time they arrive, they are barely perceptible. This is how change moves through the galaxy. Subtle, delayed, calm. Nothing startles, everything adjusts. As you lie here, notice how sensations in your body also move without sound. The warmth of a blanket spreading, the slow release of tension. These are waves too, internal ones, travelling through you without announcement. You do not hear them, but you feel their effect. The universe does not require noise to communicate. It uses balance, pressure, and motion. It speaks through gradients rather than commands. In the interstellar medium, waves carry information quietly, ensuring that nothing remains isolated for long. This is reassuring, that even in silence, connection persists. That influence does not need volume to matter. Tonight, you can allow thoughts to ripple outward and fade without needing to resolve them. Let your awareness become like space itself, wide, receptive, soundless. Waves may pass through, but they do not disturb the whole. They simply move on, leaving calm behind. Between stars, the universe speaks in motion rather than sound. And here, in this quiet moment, you are fluent in that language, listening not with ears, but with stillness. Woven through the interstellar medium are invisible threads of magnetism, stretching quietly across vast distances. These magnetic fields are faint, far weaker than anything you could feel on Earth. Yet over light years they guide motion with remarkable consistency. Charged particles drift along these lines, spiraling gently, as if following paths laid down long ago. Magnetic fields in space are not rigid structures. They bend, they twist, they respond to movement in the gas around them. When clouds shift, the fields shift too, adapting without resistance. Nothing snaps, nothing breaks. The universe prefers flexibility at large scales, and magnetism is one of its softest tools. In regions where stars are forming, magnetic fields help regulate collapse. They slow things down just enough to prevent chaos, allowing gravity to work patiently. They act like a quiet framework, supporting structure without ever becoming visible. Without these fields, matter might fall together too quickly, losing the delicate balance needed for stars and planets to emerge. As you rest now, imagine gentle lines of guidance moving through you as well. Not rules, not pressure. Just subtle tendencies toward calm. Your breathing finds its path without instruction. Your body settles into comfort without thought. These are your own quiet fields at work, guiding you toward rest. The interstellar medium shows us that guidance does not need authority. It can be subtle and still effective. Magnetic fields do not force particles to move, they suggest pathways. Over time, those suggestions become patterns, and patterns become structure. There is something reassuring in this. That direction can exist without urgency. That support can be present without being felt. Tonight, you do not need to decide where to go. The path towards sleep is already gently outlined. Magnetic fields also connect distant regions of space. A change in one place can influence motion far away, not immediately, but eventually. The galaxy is threaded together by these quiet connections, ensuring that nothing is ever truly isolated. Even in the darkest regions, there is continuity. Let this idea settle into your awareness, that you are part of a larger field of connection, that even when you feel still or alone, there are gentle structures holding everything together. You do not need to sense them for them to work. As your thoughts slow, imagine them aligning softly, like particles finding an easy path. No resistance, no effort, just a gradual settling into coherence. The interstellar medium does this naturally, guided by forces too calm to demand attention. Between stars, magnetic threads keep the galaxy softly organized. And here, in this quiet moment, similar unseen forces are guiding you toward deeper rest, without sound, without strain, without urgency. Nothing in the interstellar medium is ever truly finished. Matter moves in slow cycles, drifting between states, changing form without losing identity. Gas becomes part of a star. A star releases that gas back into space. Dust gathers, disperses, and gathers again. This is cosmic recycling, unfolding over billions of years, without waste. The atoms in the interstellar medium have lived many lives. A carbon atom drifting quietly today may once have burned inside a star, then cooled in space, then helped form a planet, and later returned to the galaxy again. These transitions are not dramatic. They are gentle handoffs from one phase to another. As you rest, consider how your own experiences move through cycles. Activity gives way to rest. Wakefulness dissolves into sleep. Tension releases into calm. Nothing is lost. Everything transforms. The universe does not discard what it has shaped. It repurposes it patiently. In the interstellar medium, recycling is slow and balanced. No single region dominates the process. Energy spreads out. Material redistributes. Over time, the galaxy maintains a steady rhythm, neither accumulating endlessly nor fading away. This balance allows complexity to arise without instability. There is something deeply reassuring about this continuity, that nothing needs to be used up completely, that even endings contribute to beginnings elsewhere. Tonight you can let go of the need to hold on to anything tightly. What matters will return when it is ready. As your breathing remains steady, imagine each exhale releasing what no longer needs to stay dense, each inhale bringing in fresh calm. This is your own small cycle, repeating quietly, supporting rest without effort. Cosmic recycling teaches us that rest is not an interruption, it is a necessary phase. Just as stars return material to space, you return energy to stillness. Tomorrow will gather what it needs in its own time. Between stars, matter flows endlessly, patient and forgiving. And here, in this moment, you are part of that same gentle cycle, drifting naturally towards sleep, without loss, without urgency. Within the quiet cold of the interstellar medium, chemistry unfolds in its most patient form. On the surfaces of tiny dust grains, atoms settle and linger. Hydrogen rests beside oxygen. Carbon drifts close to nitrogen. In these near motionless encounters, simple molecules slowly emerge, held together by cold and time. These reactions would seem impossibly slow by human standards. A single molecule might take thousands of years to form, yet the universe is generous with time. It allows chemistry to proceed without heat, without pressure, guided only by proximity and stillness. In this way, complexity begins not with excitement, but with calm. Some of the molecules formed here are familiar: water, carbon monoxide, simple organic compounds. Others are more intricate, hinting at the building blocks of life long before life itself appears. All of them drift quietly, carried by the interstellar medium, waiting for their next transformation. As you rest now, imagine thoughts forming the same way, gently, without effort. One idea brushing against another, not forcing meaning, simply allowing it. You do not need to think clearly for understanding to grow. Sometimes clarity arrives later, after stillness has done its work. The universe teaches us that creativity does not require speed. It requires space. And tonight, you are giving yourself that space. A place where nothing is demanded and everything is allowed to unfold at its own pace. Chemistry between the stars is soft and forgiving. Mistakes dissolve. Unstable combinations drift apart. Only what can exist calmly remains. This is a quiet kind of wisdom, filtering without judgment. Let your mind follow the same rule now. Thoughts that belong will stay. Others can drift away. Nothing is lost. Everything finds its place eventually. Between stars, chemistry whispers itself into being. And here, in this gentle moment, your mind is allowed to do the same. It may feel surprising, but water exists far beyond planets and oceans. In the interstellar medium, water molecules drift quietly through cold clouds, frozen onto dust grains or floating freely in gas. Long before rain ever fell on Earth, water was already present, moving gently through space. In these distant regions, water does not flow or ripple, it waits. Locked in ice, clinging to dust, it travels patiently through the galaxy. Eventually it may become part of a star-forming cloud, then a young planetary system, then perhaps an ocean, or a single drop resting on skin. As you lie here, perhaps listening with eyes closed, consider that the water within you has its own ancient story. Some of it may have once drifted between stars, part of the interstellar medium, long before it became part of a living body. You are quite literally connected to deep space. This thought does not need to feel vast or overwhelming. It can be gentle, reassuring. You're not separate from the universe. You're one of its quiet continuations. Water in space teaches patience. It does not rush to be useful. It simply exists, preserved by cold and distance. And when conditions are right, it participates in something new. Let this idea cool your thoughts. Like ice in space, you do not need to move right now. You're allowed to rest exactly as you are. Whatever comes next will come later. Between stars, water waits without worry. And here, in this calm moment, you can wait too. When we step back and look at the interstellar medium as a whole, a quiet rhythm emerges. Gas gathers into stars. Stars return gas back to space. Clouds form, disperse, and form again. The galaxy breathes slowly over millions of years. This breathing is not dramatic. There is no sharp inhale or exhale. Instead, there is a constant exchange, a gentle flow of matter inward and outward. The interstellar medium is the lungs of the Milky Way, moving material calmly from one phase to another. As you listen now, your own breath mirrors this pattern. In and out, expansion and release. Nothing forced, nothing held too tightly. Breathing is the body's most ancient rhythm, older than thought, older than language. The universe shares this rhythm. It expands, it settles, it cycles, and in doing so, it maintains balance. Not perfect balance, but living balance. Always adjusting, always flowing. Tonight, let yourself align with that larger breath. There is no need to deepen it or slow it deliberately. Simply notice it. Allow it to happen. This is enough. The galaxy does not worry about missing a breath. It trusts the cycle. You can too. Sleep arrives not by effort but by allowing the rhythm to continue uninterrupted. Between stars, the interstellar medium rises and falls like a tide too slow to see. And here, in this quiet space, you are breathing along with it, safely carried by the same gentle motion. Between stars, distance is measured in light years, yet what fills those distances is not urgency, but stillness. A light year is not a rush of brightness. It is a quiet stretch of time and space where almost nothing happens all at once. The interstellar medium occupies these distances calmly, existing without needing to announce itself. When light crosses a light year, it spends that entire time moving through thin gas and dust, through subtle magnetic fields, through regions so empty they feel almost philosophical. Nothing blocks it completely. Nothing pushes it hard. The medium simply accompanies the journey, shaping it gently. This vast stillness can feel difficult to imagine, because human life is filled with markers, hours, days, small events that divide time into manageable pieces. In the interstellar medium, there are no such markers. 1,000,000 years can pass without noticeable change, and yet the change is real. As you lie here, allow yourself to step out of measured time. There is no need to know what comes next. This moment does not need to lead anywhere. It can simply be long, open, and quiet. The universe is comfortable with this kind of stillness. Light years of space remind us that waiting is not wasted time. It is space for things to unfold naturally. Your rest works the same way. Sleep does not arrive because you chase it. It arrives because you stop counting the distance. Let your thoughts stretch out thin and spacious. There is no edge they need to reach, no conclusion they need to arrive at. Just gentle presence, floating in a long, unbroken moment. Between stars, stillness is not emptiness. It is fullness spread thin. And here, in this quiet, you're allowed to experience the same kind of peace. Long before the sun shone steadily, before Earth had oceans or air, our solar system was part of the interstellar medium. The atoms that now form planets, mountains, and living cells once drifted freely between stars, carried by galactic motion without identity or destination. A cloud collapsed somewhere in the Milky Way. Gravity gathered gas and dust. At the centre, a young star ignited. Around it, leftover material flattened into a disk, slowly assembling into worlds. But before all of that, there was only drifting, only quiet participation in the space between. As you rest now, consider that your own story includes this same beginning. The elements in your body were not made here. They travelled, they waited, they joined and separated countless times before becoming part of you. You are not an isolated event, you're a continuation. This perspective does not need to feel vast or heavy. It can feel gentle, familiar, like remembering something you never consciously knew, that you have always belonged to motion, to cycles, to slow assembly. The interstellar medium does not rush material toward meaning. It allows matter to wander until conditions align. Only then does structure emerge. Your life too has moved through phases of drifting and gathering. Both are natural. Both are necessary. Tonight, you're allowed to return briefly to that earlier state. Not becoming less than you are, but becoming simpler, like matter before form, like possibility before decision. As your awareness softens, imagine yourself as part of a young solar system, still warm, still forming, still unhurried. There is no expectation placed upon you, just gentle existence within a larger flow. Our solar system remembers this drifting even if we do not, and tonight your body remembers how to rest within it. If you could follow the history of a single atom inside your body, its journey would stretch across billions of years. It may have formed shortly after the universe began. It may have drifted through the interstellar medium for ages, part of cold clouds and warm regions alike. It may have been inside a star, then released again, and now, for a while, it rests within you. This is not metaphor. It is literal continuity. The space between stars is not separate from your own existence. It is part of your composition. The same medium that fills the galaxy has, at times, filled you. As you lie here, breathing quietly, notice how ordinary this feels, and yet how extraordinary it is. You're a temporary gathering of ancient matter, organized just long enough to experience rest, thought, and sleep. There is no pressure in this realization, no demand to do anything with it. It simply offers comfort. You're not alone. You never have been. You're carried by processes far older and calmer than worry. The interstellar medium teaches us that belonging does not require permanence. Things come together. They drift apart. Meaning exists in both states. Tonight, you're allowed to let your sense of self loosen slightly, becoming less defined, more spacious. Thoughts may thin, boundaries may soften. This is safe. The universe does this constantly, and it always continues. Let yourself feel supported by this deep continuity. You're not falling asleep in isolation. You're resting within a long, patient story that includes stars, space, and quiet matter drifting endlessly. Inside you are traces of the space between stars, and as sleep approaches, those traces remember exactly how to drift. The universe is not built only from what shines. Much of its structure comes from what remains unseen, quietly arranging itself over time. The interstellar medium acts like an invisible architecture, shaping where stars appear, where galaxies curve, and where matter chooses to gather or remain diffuse. It does this without edges, without walls, without anything that feels solid, yet its influence is everywhere. Gas and dust outline spiral arms, define empty cavities, and trace the history of long-past events. Where the medium is denser, stars are more likely to form. Where it is thin, light travels freely for vast distances. The shape of the galaxy emerges not from command, but from gentle preference, repeated endlessly. As you rest now, consider how much of your own stability comes from quiet structures you rarely notice. Breath, balance, subtle chemical signals that keep the body calm. None of these ask for attention, yet without them, nothing else would hold together. The universe works the same way, relying on calm systems rather than force. The interstellar medium reminds us that support does not need to be visible to be real. You do not need to feel held for holding to exist. Tonight, even as awareness fades, there are structures carrying you safely towards sleep. Let that reassurance settle. Nothing is collapsing, nothing is required of you. The quiet architecture of space is steady, and so is the quiet architecture of rest. Darkness in space is often misunderstood. It is not a lack, but a condition. In the interstellar medium, darkness simply means that light has not been excited or reflected. Matter is still there, drifting calmly, existing without display. This darkness is full of potential, not absence. Many of the most important processes in the galaxy happen in regions we cannot see directly. Cold clouds, dense pockets of gas. Quiet chemistry unfolding without light. The universe does not require illumination to create. It is comfortable working in the dark. As you lie here with eyes closed, you're sharing that same condition. Darkness does not mean nothing is happening. It means unnecessary signals have been turned off. Your body knows how to use darkness well. It lowers activity, slows thought, and prepares for restoration. The interstellar medium teaches us to trust what we cannot observe. Just because something is quiet does not mean it is inactive. Tonight, rest is already working, even if sleep has not fully arrived yet. Allow the darkness around you to feel supportive rather than empty. It is space for recovery, space for softening, space for becoming less defined. The universe has always known how to create in the dark, and so do you. Every grain of dust in the interstellar medium carries memory. Not memory in the human sense, but history written in composition. A grain may have condensed in the cooling atmosphere of a dying star, drifted through space for eons, been reshaped by radiation, then joined a cloud where new stars would one day form. Nothing forgets where it has been. It simply does not hold on tightly. The universe carries memory lightly, allowing it to inform the present without weighing it down. This is a gentle model for rest. As you relax, thoughts may surface from earlier in the day or earlier in life. You do not need to engage with them. Let them be like cosmic dust, present but unburdensome. They are part of your history, but they do not need to shape this moment. In the interstellar medium, memory becomes material for the future, not a distraction from the present. Dust becomes planets. Atoms become oceans. Everything is reused softly. Tonight, you're allowed to let memory settle into the background. What matters will remain. What does not can drift away. Time will take care of the rest. Between stars, dust remembers without tension. And here, in this quiet moment, you can rest the same way. Life does not begin where conditions are loud or extreme. It begins where balance holds long enough for complexity to assemble. The interstellar medium provides this balance. It is where elements mix gently, where molecules form without disruption, and where the raw ingredients of living systems are stored patiently until the moment is right. Before any planet carries life, its materials drift through space. Carbon learns how to bond. Oxygen finds partners. Water gathers quietly on dust grains. None of this is done with purpose or intention, yet it prepares the universe for life everywhere it might emerge. As you rest now, consider how much of life depends on long preparation. Growth often happens invisibly. Rest itself is part of that preparation. While you sleep, the body repairs, reorganizes, and quietly sustains what allows life to continue. The interstellar medium teaches us that life is not rare because it is fragile, but because it requires patience. The universe is patient enough, and tonight you're allowed to be patient with yourself. Nothing needs to be achieved in this moment. Simply being here is already part of a much larger process. In space between stars, there are no clear borders. Clouds fade into thinner regions. Density changes gradually. Nothing ends abruptly. The interstellar medium exists without edges, only transitions. This softness allows motion to feel natural, never confined, never resisted. As your awareness drifts, notice how edges soften inside you too. Thoughts lose sharp beginnings and endings. Sensations blend gently. You're not required to define anything clearly. This is the natural state of rest. The universe shows us that structure does not require rigidity. It emerges from gentle gradients and shared motion. You can let yourself float the same way, supported by continuity rather than control. There is comfort in not knowing where one moment ends and the next begins. Sleep arrives like this, without a boundary you can point to. One thought fades, another dissolves, and suddenly you are resting. Floating without edges is safe. The galaxy does it constantly. The interstellar medium is incredibly thin, yet it stretches across unimaginable distances. In this thinness, infinity feels closer. There is space to breathe, space to drift, space to exist without pressure. Vast meaning lives comfortably in places that seem almost empty. This teaches a gentle truth, that you do not need intensity to matter. Presence alone is enough. A quiet mind can still hold depth. A resting body can still be part of something infinite. As you settle further into stillness, allow the idea of infinity to feel soft, not overwhelming. Infinity does not rush toward you. It surrounds you calmly, patiently, always. between stars, thin places carry endless stories. And here, in this quiet moment, you are resting inside one of them, safe, supported, and free to drift wherever sleep gently takes you. Silence in the universe is not an absence of activity. It is a condition that allows things to take shape without interference. In the interstellar medium, silence gives matter the freedom to drift, to gather, to reorganize itself slowly. Without constant disturbance, small changes can persist long enough to matter. Creation prefers this environment. Noise disrupts, pressure scatters, silence allows continuity. This is why stars are born in the quietest regions of space, where movement has softened and energy is dissipated enough to listen to gravity's patient suggestion. As you rest now, notice how silence supports you. When sound fades, your nervous system relaxes. When stimulation lowers, the mind stops defending its attention. Silence is not empty, it is functional, it is restorative. You do not need to fill this quiet with thought. Let it work on its own. The universe has always known how to use silence well. Tonight, you are allowed to benefit from it too. Every photon that reaches your eyes has travelled a long way. It carries no memory in the human sense, yet its energy and direction have been shaped by everything it encountered. The interstellar medium leaves its subtle imprint on light, altering it just enough to tell a story to those who know how to listen. Light arrives softened, filtered, aged by distance. It does not complain about the journey. It does not hurry to arrive unchanged. It adapts, and in adapting, it becomes meaningful. As you drift towards sleep, your own experiences behave similarly. They do not disappear. They integrate. They settle into you, less sharp than before, more usable, less demanding. Rest allows this quiet processing to happen. You do not need to remember everything clearly tonight. What matters will remain, transformed gently, like light that has crossed the space between stars. You're not separate from the space you imagine. The same rules that guide gas, dust, and light also guide your body and mind. You respond to balance. You soften when pressure is removed. You gather yourself when conditions are calm. For this brief moment, you can think of yourself as part of the interstellar medium. Not defined by edges, not driven by urgency, simply present within a larger flow. Thoughts thin out. Awareness spreads gently. Nothing needs to be held tightly. The universe does not ask you to be anything other than what you are right now. And right now, rest is enough. As the night deepens, imagine yourself resting not on a bed, but within the Milky Way itself. The spiral arms curve slowly around you, and between them, the interstellar medium drifts like a quiet sea. You're not at the centre, and you are not at the edge. You're simply inside, held by a structure so large it has no need to notice you to support you. In this place, nothing presses inward. Gravity balances. Motion smooths itself out. The galaxy carries its contents gently, allowing stars, clouds, and empty regions to coexist without conflict. This is the environment in which rest is natural. There is no urgency here, no sense of needing to move or become something else. Let your awareness settle into this image. You're not travelling through space. Space is around you, steady and calm. The interstellar medium that holds stars apart is also what keeps them from colliding. Separation here is a form of care. As your breathing continues on its own, notice how little effort it takes to be supported. The galaxy does not tighten its grip. It simply exists in balance. You can allow yourself to do the same, trusting that nothing needs to be controlled for rest to deepen. Tonight you are resting inside something vast and stable. Nothing is expected of you. You belong here simply by being present. At the beginning of this journey, a quiet question appeared. What fills the emptiness between stars? Now, after drifting through gas, dust, light and time, The answer feels softer than words. The space between is filled with patience, with connection, with the conditions that allow everything else to exist. Emptiness, it turns out, is a matter of perspective. What seems empty at one scale is full at another. The interstellar medium holds matter so gently that it feels like nothing at all, and yet, without it, stars could not form, light could not soften, and galaxies could not breathe. As you rest now, you may notice a similar shift inside yourself. The quiet moments that once felt blank now feel supportive. The pauses between thoughts feel spacious rather than uncomfortable. This is understanding arriving without effort. You do not need to resolve the question fully. The universe rarely does. It allows answers to remain open, evolving slowly, just like the medium that carries them. For tonight it is enough to know that what holds you is not absence but gentle presence. Let that realization fade into comfort. Questions can rest too. The interstellar medium teaches without instruction. It shows us that what connects is often more important than what stands out. That stillness can be active. That patience is not passive, but powerful. Between stars, everything necessary already exists, waiting calmly for the right conditions. As you lie here, close to sleep, these lessons do not need to be remembered consciously. They can settle beneath awareness, the way gravity settles matter into form. You do not need to carry them forward, they will carry you. The space between stars teaches us how to rest without disappearing, how to belong without effort, how to drift without being lost. It reminds us that quiet structures are the ones that last the longest. Let your thoughts thin out now. Let boundaries soften. You have done enough simply by listening, by breathing, by allowing yourself to slow down. The universe does not demand more, and as sleep approaches, you can trust the same gentle principles that shape galaxies to guide you safely inward, toward rest, toward stillness, toward quiet continuity. Against the scale of the galaxy, a single human life is small, brief, almost unmeasurable. And yet, the interstellar medium teaches us that size is not the same as significance. Vast structures are shaped by the smallest particles, drifting patiently, contributing quietly over time. A single atom seems insignificant, yet without it, nothing forms. A single grain of dust seems forgettable, yet entire worlds may one day gather around it. The universe does not overlook the small, it depends on it. As you rest now, you do not need to feel large or important. You do not need to matter loudly. Existing gently is enough. Your presence fits naturally into the calm of the cosmos, the same way thin gas fits naturally between stars. There is relief in this thought. You're not required to carry the universe. You're simply part of it, supported, included, allowed to rest without justification. Small lives belong in vast calm, and tonight, you're exactly where you belong. In the interstellar medium, density matters. Where matter thins, movement becomes easier. Pressure fades. Collisions become rare. Calm expands. This thinning is not loss, it is balance. Your mind follows the same principle. As sleep approaches, thoughts become fewer. They spread out. They no longer cluster tightly or demand attention. This is not forgetting. It is gentle spacing. Let your awareness thin now. You do not need to follow every idea. Let them drift farther apart like atoms in space, rarely touching, rarely combining. Silence grows naturally in the gaps. Nothing needs to be held together tonight. Nothing needs to be solved. Thinning is how rest begins. The universe knows this. Your body knows this too. Allow the mind to become spacious, soft, light. There is no edge to reach, no center to protect. Just quiet distribution, settling into ease. Now the journey begins to turn inward. Not with a sudden ending, but with a gradual easing, like matter dispersing after a long gathering. The interstellar medium does this naturally, and so do you. Thoughts lose their shape, images fade, awareness drifts closer to the body, to breath, to warmth. Nothing pulls you forward, nothing holds you back. Sleep approaches the way gravity approaches, patiently, inevitably, without force. You do not need to notice the moment it arrives. The universe rarely marks transition sharply. One state blends into another, and only later do we realize the change has happened. Let yourself drift now. The space between thoughts grows wide and quiet. The night holds you. The galaxy holds you. Rest unfolds without effort. You are safe to let go. Before this journey began, there was a question about emptiness, about the space between stars. Now, as everything slows, the answer no longer needs words. The interstellar medium does not explain itself. It simply exists, flowing gently, holding galaxies together without tension, without sound. The universe is not built from moments of brightness alone. It is built from continuity, from breath-like cycles of gathering and releasing, from long stretches of quiet where nothing seems to happen, and yet everything is being prepared. As you rest here, close to sleep or already drifting within it, you are part of that same motion. Your thoughts have thinned. Your body has softened. Awareness no longer needs to stay awake to guard anything. The night is doing that for you now. There is no separation between you and what you have imagined. The same calm principles shape stars, clouds, and rest. You have followed them naturally, without effort, simply by allowing yourself to slow. Nothing is ending. Nothing is beginning. This is just a gentle continuation, a return to flow. Everything flows. Sleep in that motion.